It might get a little bit laggy. Don't
Welcome back. Francisco is fixing his hat, and looks like we have Francisco is moving around. Sodek's moving around. This is a moving live target, and I can try to fix it, but it's moving too quickly. We'll fix their adjustments over the first break. Otherwise, we're just going to have a little bit of movement. Sodek's going to get larger than life in just a moment here. But welcome back to the Modern Streamers League. This is the first night of week 2. For those who missed it, check out the YouTube or check out the Twitch VODs. We have 3 previous nights of awesome modern action. This is a tournament where 16 players brought 3 decks in a triple elimination tournament. The brackets we'll have up for you in just a moment. We've already played 12 matches. We'll have 4 more for you tonight. When a player loses with a deck, that deck is gone forever. So try not to lose. I'm here with Francisco and Sodek. Francisco, would you like to say hi?
Hello, how's everyone doing?
So you're mostly known for being an Amulet Titan player. Is that right?
That is true. That is true. I have been branching out a little bit more lately, but yeah, mostly Amulet is my brand.
And
Grizzle brand.
not Grizzle brand, Titan brand, best brand. Got it. And Sodek has largely been considered the best dredge player in the world. So, Sodek, where can people see more of you?
Hello, chat, and hello, viewers. More of me. That's a good question. You can see my streams, Sodek and TG. You can also follow me on Twitter. And also, I would like to say that you know me as a Scratch player, but I'm a combo player in heart, so don't be surprised when I'm making modern challenge finals with something else and not with hello. So yeah, like I love the Scratch, but I also love other combo decks.
So what I'm hearing is Sodek is going to keep playing Dredge, but he wants the world to know just because you see Sodek, don't automatically mulligan for Graveyard Hate Game 1. That's what I just heard just there. You see Sodek? He's like, maybe I'll be on ad nauseum. Right. Maybe he will. All I know is that I've looked up your MTG Goldfish. So many 5-0s with Dredge. You are the best known Dredge player that in the world. So that's awesome. So glad to have both of you on stream tonight. And I feel like I didn't give Francisco enough love. Francisco is the one who taught me how to play Amulet Titan by watching all his videos. So definitely check out all of his Amulet Titan videos. He's flickering right now because he's just so happy with how much Amulet Titan action he has on his YouTube channel. So definitely check that out too. Tonight we have... What has that ever been like? Has Amulet ever not been good? Since it's been good, has it ever not been good?
I'm guilty of playing it in some situations where I shouldn't have, but it's okay. Like Infect is the best deck in the format, and you somehow still register Amulet. Been there, done that. I don't recommend it.
Looks like I'm dealing with a couple technical issues.
Yeah, you know that's a problem if you are known for one deck. Sometimes you just have to play it on bad meta games because you know you are known for this deck. And I also like, for example, in the KCI moment, playing Dredge was
It's pretty rough.
Was a rough thing. Actually, my win rate was quite good, but it was an uphill battle for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, like if I ever stopped winning with Amulet, I would probably stop playing it, but I just don't. So that's great.
Amulet's one of those decks where you feel like you can win from almost any spot if certain things happen. Like you can put yourself in a position to do that for sure, but Amulet's a deck where you can pilot yourself into a spot where even in a bad spot, you can still win a game, you can still steal a match. you can still do lots and lots of things. So I think even if Amulet Titan isn't good, like there's a heavy spell-based combo meta, you could certainly tune for that with a 5-color deck, but you can still pilot effectively in certain spots. So that's one thing I've really loved about Amulet Titan. I feel like it's got game against everything. And
Yeah.
what is that you say? Hashtag no bad matchups?
No bad matchups, baby. No bad matchups. Easy.
So for those of you just joining, I'm sorry about we have a couple of technical issues right now where people are popping in and out. We're going to see giant Sodek in a minute and then tiny Francisco. So we are not
Skype
sponsored
is not being
by
nice
Skype.
to us today.
No, Skype is not being
No, and we wouldn't sponsor Skype if they offered, I don't think.
Sorry, Skype, but get better. We are sponsored
Don't
by
suck, please.
Wizards of the Coast and Card Hoarder, which Wizards of the Coast is the reason we have this awesome game, and Card Hoarder is how I personally play with MTGO. The first match we have tonight is going to be Ghost Empire against Spider Space. We're actually in the winners bracket tonight, so our players are 1-0. The loser of the match is going to lose the deck that they lost with permanently for the rest of this tournament and fall into the dreaded losers bracket. From the losers bracket, if you lose again, you're in the elimination bracket. If you lose from that, then you're gone. You have no decks left. You're out of the tournament. So
Yeah, it's a pretty brutal structure, especially because if you lost in the first match, it's really hard to make it back. You have to win so many matches to get back. So it's pretty brutal. We actually saw something similar in the World Championship, actually, where I think that PV and Nassif had both made the top 4, and like PV had played 6 matches and Nassif had played something like 14 or something ridiculous. It was. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was like he had played over twice the amount of matches that PV had played. It was pretty absurd.
If with our current bracket, I believe if you go undefeated, you could be 7-0 and be this tournament's champion. Meanwhile, the person you'll be playing against in the championship might be, they would have to be X2, so might be like 10-2. So they have played 12 matches and you've played like 7. Winning early is definitely huge here because not only do you have more
Big deal.
leverage, you also have more decks to choose from. Which
I
mean, Sodek chose Dredge twice, so Sodek he already handicapped himself by picking only 2 decks. But
that's a funny story because I wanted to post all 3 the same deck lists, but like 30 minutes before, my friend told me that I can't do that because I will lower my chances even more. So he just gave me a deck list of Amulet just to have something else to play, and I once again fell in love in this deck. Like this endless puzzles to solve is a very cool thing to have. Sometimes you have 2 amulets and win on turn 2, but
we call that easy mode.
Easy
mode. Like sometimes you have 13 power on turn 2 with Dredge, so that's also easy. But the most important games are when not everything is not working how it should be.
Exactly.
So, when you have to struggle to get to 6 mana. I know Castle of Garenbriggs made that a lot easier. Dryads made it so much easier. The deck used to have a lot of little play where it was, what do I get off of my Amulet trigger? And now the answer quite often is, getting Valakut and what else? So it used to be a lot more little options, I feel, and now the deck has taken a bigger jump in power level. It has always been pretty high, but Dryad of the Elysian Grove has really changed gears for how the deck. I mean, Francisco, you can correct me if you disagree with me here.
Yeah. It took me a second to become a believer, but Dryad really is busted. They really messed that one up.
Yeah. I mean, they're pushing the power level in Modern right now. That's what we have with the Companions. We had a little bit of pre-show chat about Companions. I'm of the opinion where if Companions are where Wizards of the Coast wants the eternal formats to be. I think we need more of them. Francisco, what's your opinion on the companions?
I think that companions are a design mistake, and I really hope that they will just ban them all. Or my suggested fix, I guess, would be to just like errata them, so you can only use the companion ability in like limited and irrelevant formats. But that's not what's gonna happen. We're gonna see some bannings though, because like Legacy and Vintage are done. Like
And Brawl.
those decks just could not, and Brawl, yeah, but Brawl.
There's only 6 people that play Brawl, right?
Exactly. I mean, there are probably some folks out there that play Brawl, but when it comes to Eternal formats, those formats really could not figure it out, and definitely like the difference of power level is a little bit too much. Fortunately, in Modern, the power level is a lot more flat, so you don't have that kind of a massive difference between a deck like Delver in Legacy and the second best deck, whatever it is, which is probably another version of Delver. But in Modern, you don't have that. You actually have cards that are playable and engines that can keep up with the companion engines without needing the help from the companion. A good example of this, for example, is Amulet, right? A Primeval Titan can very easily keep up with Allurus. Ad Nauseam doesn't care about your Lurus because you're going to be dead on turn 4. And they're going to be able to do that with a lot of resiliency. So there are certain decks in Modern that don't really care about the whole companion aspect. And the companion decks do not maybe have as good of tools as they have in Legacy. Like, for example, thanks to Force of Will, Daze, and those kind of cards, they don't really have that incredibly efficient ways of interacting that makes them broken in Legacy. So Modern is definitely, like right now, I think Modern is the only playable format. to be honest with you, everything else is just an absolute mess for what I've seen. Like Vintage just makes no sense. Everybody's playing Lurus because like if you draw Black Lotus, like the game is over. Like you just Black Lotus and you cast your Lurus, and then you recast the Black Lotus. Like what the hell? It's ridiculous. And Legacy, it's kind of the same. Like everybody's just playing Delvers and stuff like that because it's like so much better than everything else that's going on. And Standard is like literally every single playable deck is a companion deck, I think.
Timur Clover would say something to this.
Yeah, fair. Clover is like, but all the other decks are some Luca Yorion decks or like something like that, or like Yorion control band. Obosh, the aggro decks play Obosh, and then there's like the almost combo decks like the aristocrat decks that play Lurus. So like every single deck that, if you're not playing a companion in Standard, you're just really, really, really hurting your chances of winning. Yeah, exactly. I cannot really speak to Pioneer, don't really follow the format, so I think it's kind of in the same situation. Like even Inverter is now playing Yorion, so we're kind of in the same spot. So Modern is the only format where we still, if we look at a top 8 or a top 16, we don't see like 16 or 15 decks without companions. We see maybe like 8 decks with companion, or like 10 decks with companion, and versus like 6 decks without companions. So yeah, it's definitely like the much more diverse and
to summarize,
the one that could adapt better, basically. Yeah. The format that could adapt better to the companion onslaught.
The way I see Modern right now is you're either a value-based deck that uses companions to add value, like the Jund and the Orion decks, and even Burn to some extent. You're a deck that generates value by itself, like Tron or Amulet Titan, which don't need companions to have value. Or you're a deck that doesn't care about value, like Storm or Ad Nauseam. And in some cases, I would put Dredge actually in that second group that generates value on its own. Speaking of Dredge, Sodek, what is your opinion on companions in Modern?
About like that's an interesting question, because if you see only like based on only results and based on how the metagame is shaping right now, It's not the end of the world. For example, even if this Lurus family, we have some different decks. We have prowess decks, jump decks, some blue delver style,
control
even
decks.
boggles and something like this. So we have different Lurus decks. In Yorion family, we have Uroza and Band Snow. So there are
And
some
Scapeshift
differences.
now.
And Scapeshift, yes.
Scapeshift now has made a big resurgence.
So there are some differences. It's not like we have only one or two decks. For example, the best Lurus deck, the best Yorio deck, and that's it. So there are some variance between these builds. Also, Modern probably has the biggest amount of non-companion playable decks.
Yes.
But because still metagame is not that open, not that wide, so it's easier for companion decks to prepare. For example, right now Amulet is kind of big and Tron, so more decks will play just Blood Moons, so it's quite easy for them to disrupt Amulet plans. For example, that was probably the first time when I saw when red deck played Angel's Grace just to stop combo decks because they could afford to do that. So because metagame in Modern is now more narrow, it's easier for these reactive decks to find the right tools to attack non-interactive decks. So I think non-interactive decks are in much worse position, both because they don't have companion and it's easier for them to for other decks to attack them.
I completely agree with that.
So on the other hand, we have some new decks. We have this blue-white counterbalance deck. I think it just abuses Mystic Sanctuary, and that's the plan here.
It does play a companion though. Watch out! Watch out for Kahira. Watch out for Kahira.
Just it's a joke in my opinion, but okay.
Yeah, our very own aspiring Spike yesterday qualified for the Pro Tour. So congratulations! Shout out to aspiring Spike.
We'll be seeing Spike play in match number 3 tonight.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Speaking of matches, do you guys want to jump into match number 1, which is Ghost Empire up against Spider Space?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, we'll have a really short break. Hopefully, I can fix these moving cameras during that, and then we'll see you in match number 1. Be right back.
All right, we're looking at Spider Space, which is going to get us started, we're going to be looking at this match from Spider Space point of view. And he's playing some taxes. All right, very on brand for Spider Space.
Okay, so first thing I want to say is that I really hate taxes as an archetype. In my opinion, it's a definition of not playing real Magic, because you are playing bad cards, bad creatures, and bad effects, which combined can be quite powerful, and that's not funny at all. For example,
that's like your perfect definition.
Yeah, your Lion Arbiter without Ghost Quarter is just a worse bear. And if they puff your creature when you have Lion Arbiter in the battlefield, that's the saddest thing ever. Okay, so maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, this is Spider Space's wheelhouse, though. If you ever watch his streams, he loves himself some taxes decks.
Yeah, okay. So he's playing against some Tron decks. So it's actually quite. And Blasto. Okay, mine. So it's probably Eldrazi Tron.
Yeah, Eldrazi Tron versus Green White Taxes is what we see here. And interesting that he chooses to go for the turn to Thalia instead of going for an Arbiter or something like that. I wonder why that is, because that's going to delay his sword. I think that he is just afraid of Karn coming in too quickly. So that's probably why he chose to go for that line instead of trying to, I don't know, like play around the Thoughtlessy or something.
On the other, this Matter Reshaper is a reason to play. To play Eldrazi Tron. Okay, Stoneforge Mystic from the top is the best thing what you can find.
You see the biggest combo in Magic in all of its glory, right? Stoneforge Mystic plus Leonin Arbiter. This is synergy, folks. This is synergy right here.
Yeah, but I think that Spider Space knew why he should play Thalia turn 2 instead of Arbiter.
Yeah, clearly he was ahead. Interesting that Marcus chooses to go for the Charleston 1. I would imagine that the only thing that he really cares about is at this point just Path to Exile. So that's why he's choosing to go for that.
I also see that that Eldrazi Tron player has 0 cards in hand, so there were some heavy mulligan actions.
Oh, there was some mulliganing going on as well.
So I hadn't noticed that. For example, that's why Spider Space didn't attack last turn with Thalia, just to not give the opponent more resources to work with. So that's quite interesting. Okay, so now this Blossom is kind of interesting. So this game will maybe not be centered around this Blazon, but it will be maybe a trap for Eldrazi Tron player. Okay, Field of Ruin answers that quite well.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, if you look at Spider Space's hand, it's mono 2-drops, right? So this Blast Zone is bound to do some serious amount of work over here. We look at the Battle Skull though. That one is big game. It's bigger than basically most of the threats that Eldrazi Tron can put on the table. While at the same time, we have this Giver of Runes looming, just making sure that all of Spider's creatures are very well protected. So we start to see the chomp right here. Marcus really wants to draw a card. He really wants to dig a little bit deeper, and of course he finds wastes. What else was he gonna find there? Obviously,
this kind of mana.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this looks quite sad. But if you have all its dust ready, this can win games. Okay, so now Lion Arbiter plus Field of Ruin action to attack Blast Zone.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that means that the Blast Zone is going to be a lot harder for Ghost Empire to and we see exactly that. He can't actually get a lot of value from the Blast Zone, so he just decides to just pop it.
Yeah, also it's quite important to use it now, because you are if you let the Lion Arbiter resolve, your opponent can just not use Field of Ruin, so you won't be able to use Blast Zone and still be able to pop it in response to Field of Ruin. So this is a really good play.
Did you see that? Spider did like a uh, nice little spotlight on the Thalia because actually Marcus did floated mana with the Leonin Arbiter on stack with the idea of dismembering it, but Thalia did some work. Exactly what you were saying, Sodek. We see a bunch of cards that are not very good, just somehow.
Yeah, this casual Stoneforge Mystic and sort of Fire and Ice in hand, because why not?
Exactly, and it
And
gets
did that.
there. It gets there, baby. There we go. Spider gets the W there in a very interesting match. That I guess that a lot had to do with the mulligans that did take place.
Yeah, that's true. I think that Eldrazi Tron is not that that bad positions in this matchup, because you are not that high on assembling Tron.
Mm-hmm.
You are more about having this one soul action away from locking opponent out of the game. Although Battle Skull can be a huge problem. So
yeah.
So this
my,
can be a
my
problem,
experience. Sorry, you were saying?
Especially in late game, because this equip on other creatures, especially on Talia, I think that Talia will be sided out a bit, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. What I was going to say is that the fact that you don't really rely on the Tron lands and you're just playing more of a mid-range deck allows you to not care so much about your opponent just like using Field of Ruin to KOing you immediately, right? You can still play your 3-drops and 4-drops and they might be good. I actually hadn't noticed, but we see Spider actually playing Lurrus the fair way. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. Just playing it for value.
And okay, so he's very close to show its as a companion, and by close I mean only 8 tournaments away from doing it. So easy game, easy life.
Easy life.
So I like the way the Spider Space sideboarded. This Gadok tick is also like, I think it's a Gadok tick. Gadok tick is a response to both Karn and all its dust. So it's kind of, it's not great all the time, but when it's good, it's great.
Yeah, exactly. And those are like the two of the cards that he cares the more about, right? Mostly because the Karn can actually go ahead and get Ensnare Bridge, which he actually has very few ways of dealing with. Basically just blinking it with with Flicker Wisp until the end of turn.
Yeah, and we have interesting hand. We have Horizon Canopies, which will make some damage, deep damage. And this Ghost Quarter without any addition of Leonin Arbiter won't be that powerful. Okay, opponent assembles Tron, so
yep, Tron on 3, of course. Easy game, easy life.
That was an interesting spot here for Spider Space. He could play Ghost Quarter just to stop the Tron action going, but he decided to go for Gadok Tick instead, just to stop Karn. I think that he respects Karn.
Exactly. So he's trying to protect himself from Karn and all his dust, with what you were saying earlier, which are the two cards that are the most impactful right now. He could have gone for the Thalia on turn 2 or just like play a Giver plus a Ghost Quarter, but he chooses instead to go for the Gadok Tick. And we see here the Sorcerer's Spyglass, and in response, we see the protection in very heads up play from Spider Space, because once the Sorcerer's Spyglass resolves, he is not going to get priority again to name the giver. So a very heads up play by Spider Space, which comes as no surprise.
Wow, but a lot of removal, like both Spider Contortion and Warping Whale, did the work. Also now Sorcerer's Spyglass, the Sorcerer's Spyglass can name lands, probably they can. So name Ghost Quarter will protect your Tron.
Yeah, it's same as Spider Needle. So now that Tron is assembled, he names the Ghost Quarter, and of course, he didn't have the Field of Ruin, he actually had the Ghost Quarter. So, punished.
Maybe not punished because he had the information
Yeah.
from Spyglass. So.
Oh, that's right. The Spyglass gives you the information. I'm silly. Never mind. Never mind.
Stoneforge Mystic is a response to maybe stabilize this game in a mid game. This is the most important turn of the game. This turn 3 was kind of nice, but wasn't the most important one. All that matters is what opponent can present here. So Walking Ballista.
And it is good. Walking Ballista, it's pretty good there.
It's nice. Like killing Stoneforge Mystic means that that Spider Space won't be able to cheat Batterskull into play. Also, he can't, maybe not can't, but playing Talia right now would be quite bad because if they play Razorverse Ticket into Snow-Covered Forest, Spider Space will be able to cast Batterskull in a fair way. So playing this path means that your Giver of Runes will die, so it's a 2-for-1.
Yeah. This Ballista did a lot of work, which is, I mean, it's what you expect when your opponent has 8 mana on turn 4, right? You expect them to play something backbreaking, and that's exactly what happened. Walking Ballista got a nice clean 2-for-1 against the Mono Bears deck. And yeah, it isn't really surprising. Also, interesting that he actually chose to play the Thalia. So now he's not going to be able to deploy the Batterskull on the next turn. So I guess that he just wants to have something on board. Yeah, second Ballista.
Yeah, second Ballista. I think it's close to game over unless you find once again path from the top. Also, this Horizon Canopy like. It's like already 7 damage.
Yeah, Spider is already at 13, 11 if he wants to deploy the Batterskull, which can get very easily answered by this Ballista on board. So yeah, I don't think that Spider is going to be able to come back from this. Usually this kind of Taxes deck are very good at making tempo positive or like tricky style plays like that. But once they fall behind, it's really hard for them to actually catch back up. So now that he is very far behind, I find it very tough for him to be able to recover.
Yeah, that's true. Also, the biggest problem here is that even if you answer this Walking Ballista and you are in even position, Eldrazi Tron's top decks are much better than yours because you have 2/2 creatures. And you have 4/4 and 5/5s in form of Photmus and Smasher. Also, Karn. Okay, this Arbiter would change things, but because Quarter is blocked.
Yeah, no Ghost Quarter for Spider. I guess that he could draw. No, he can't even feel the ruin. So yeah, that's.
Do you like this Walking Ballista action here to kill this Germ?
Well, I think that what's going on is that once this Batterskull is off the board, Spider just doesn't have time, right? He literally just does not have time to redeploy everything and like to bounce the Batterskull and then replay it. So I think that's why we saw that line. However, that Field of Ruin draw is pretty interesting. Wow, he didn't choose to go for the. Wow, he didn't choose to destroy the Tron. What is he trying to do?
He will lose.
Oh, he would lose. That's true. Yeah. No.
If you ask. I think like maybe
he doesn't have mana. He doesn't have enough mana, right?
Okay, he won't lose now, like in this turn, but based on this position and zero cast can't.
Yeah,
like
we're done
impossible
here.
To come back. Like just putting counters on Ballista would be enough. Oh, and goes to flagship.
The vote. Hell yeah. Vote it up, baby. Whoo.
Okay, and also kind of important that Karn blocks Batterskull equip. So if return ability, so this Batterskull is now a blank.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like if you equip, yeah, I imagine that was his plan, I guess, to like somehow for the Leonin Arbiters to survive and then to equip the Batterskull. But yeah, I without destroying Tron, I don't really know how you get out of that.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess even with destroying Tron, you can't get out of that anyway. So that's we see a pretty straightforward match right there.
Yeah, but that was the power of Eldrazi Tron on a play. I like this. He assembled Tron, but because the deck is well prepared to play without Tron, his mana curve wasn't that high.
Mhm.
So Eldrazi Tron player was able to cast multiple spells per turn. So
Exactly. It's different to Big Tron, where they just try to make all of their mana and then just cast one big thing. Eldrazi Tron, once they make all their mana, they will cast multiple smaller things that will hopefully add to a lot. Sometimes they don't add to that much, but still, it's
yeah, like Terrific Tron into 2 Matter Reshapers is the
yeah.
Wonder level play too.
Turn 3 double mana reshaper is like whew, hot fire. But yeah, we are gonna hopefully see an exciting game 3 over here. And oof, this is an interesting opener.
This is an exciting hand. I topped.
Spider's not sure. Spider's not sure about it.
Yeah, Power of Bial plus drawing lands. But he kept this? What?
Alright, so we're just hoping for no Karn.
Okay, I understand that Arbiter on a play is good because it stops map, but you have to draw a land to do this, okay?
He's not happy about it. He knows about it. He doesn't love it.
Okay, one time. Close one.
The whiskey. That's brutal. And the worst part is this is a field of ruin. It's not even a ghost quarter. So it's not like he can go exactly now. Devastating. That is insane. All right, that is probably gonna spell the end of the game right there.
I think
turn 2 kill. You saw it here.
Okay, we are maybe not like still. Eldrazi Tron on 2 lands is not that scary. So if we won't see anything else, maybe.
Yeah, so I guess that he can draw like.
Oh, that's my favorite part of playing taxes. If you draw your
the mana base of all the taxes deck is an absolute mess. Oh, this is priceless. Poor spider. But I mean, he kept it.
Don't say poor spider, greedy spider. That's a word.
Yeah, exactly. That's. I mean, he.
See that.
He had a dream. He had a dream. Oh yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Squatter myself, baby. Oh yeah, you love to see it.
But he didn't have Learning Arbiter on the battlefield, because that would be even worse.
Oh man, that's brutal. Are we gonna see the the Brassic champ? Oh yeah, this is the thought. Classic turn 3 thought. Let's see here.
Yeah, we have a lot of ways to do that.
It's pretty rough. It's gonna be pretty tough for Spider to come back from this one.
Maybe Giver of Runes can give you some hope, because you can just this decision to play Talia instead of Learning Arbiter. As of right now.
Can't even cast the path because of the Talia.
No, that was a gamble. Like, this whole game was like one big gamble, like keeping this hand, casting this Talia Arbiter without any information, and Blast Zone.
I mean, if there had been no Spyglass on turn 2, we might have had an actual game. That's true. Maybe even an exciting game, because basically Spyler would have been able to deploy everything. I like this line here by Spyler. Check it out. So we're gonna see kind of like the bait move. I'm just playing. Exactly, and then we see the Ballista actually killing the Thalia there, which actually unlocks Spider's path to exile right here, which is hilarious. He really wanted that Thalia to die. Okay, we found the second land. Is it too late? Probably. Hopefully not.
Like, it's our third land, because we used one land to just filter your mana. Like, Ghost Quarter was a bad fetch land in this position. Exactly. Okay, the biggest problem now is both Blast Zone and Walking Ballista will buy time. So Spider Space one, like, what's the plan here? I just don't see a line which can, maybe Lurus can work.
Casali, exactly, like Lurus recurring Casali Pride Mage over and over again. That's what we're playing towards. It's not great. It is a plan though. But yeah, like the Blastone even taking care of both the Giver and the Vial is just adding insult to injury at this point. Tron finally assembled. This is rough. It's gonna be pretty. At this point, we're probably getting towards the point of no return.
Yeah, I think so too. Like having maybe without this ballista on the battlefield and with Eldrazi Tron being on a super hard flat, maybe. Maybe that's a line, but
yeah, I mean, Ballista is such a good mana sink for the Eldrazi Tron deck, right?
Yeah.
It's such a good mana sink, and there's not much the Spider can really do in order to keep up with that, really. Yeah. So
remember when Walking Ballista was a kind of new, maybe not a broken, but new, cool and powerful thing in Modern?
Yep.
And now we have companions.
Those were the times. Those were the times.
Yeah.
I remember that at one point Ballistas were like 30 tickets in Magic Online or 40 tickets each. Those were the times.
Yeah, that's true. And now, companion. After Oko, after Once Upon a Time, after Hogak. Yeah, that was a hard year for Modern.
It was an interesting year. Oof. We see the Reality Smasher. To be fair, at this point, like Marcus can win this game with the ham sandwich, right? Like his mana's online and nothing is stopping it. Spider has nothing going on, only 2 mana versus that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it's not close. It's not close.
Yeah. Also, like the only way Eldrazi, I can say that Eldrazi will lose to Taxes is that Taxes will overwhelm Eldrazi with the tax effects, and we haven't seen any early. So
no, we didn't see a good curve at all, and we didn't see any of like the Ghost Quarter had to be used on ourselves in order to use to disrupt our opponent. So that is usually the sign of a game that's not going your way, you know.
Yeah, like it wasn't a misclick.
No, it was not a misclick.
That's the saddest part of this.
And it was probably the correct play too. That probably speaks to how hard the situation.
That's why I love Taxes. Like my friend in my local game store was playing Taxes for a long time, and I just didn't like. I never understood how he's winning. That was a mystery for me. Okay, so now
this is how we get back.
Yeah, like that's the only way. Spider Space has rules, and Eldrazi Tron kind of flattened a bit.
Yeah, but this is the thing with Eldrazi Tron. Like each one of their cards just equal to so many of Spider's cards, right?
Yes.
So when like Spider needs like 3 or 4 cards in order to keep up with one of the Eldrazi Tron cards. So that's just never a winning battle. And we see exactly that. We see the boat coming back down again. And at this point we're done so.
Yeah, I don't see any way how Spiders can work. Maybe without this card from the top, that it would be an option, but now.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, we might have had a game if the card had never showed up. But even still, there's a scavenging grounds in on the battlefield, right? So like the Lurus wasn't going to be doing too much.
Yeah, that's true. On the other hand, like at least you would have something to work with in future. Still, Spider Space deck probably doesn't have any ambitious bubbles.
No bubbles, and we actually see like my favorite interaction, and the main reason why I started playing the Sky Sovereign in the Cyber of my Amulet decks is because of this interaction right here with Karn. You can just plus on the boat and you turn it into a 5/5 creature, not a 6/5. But when you attack, you get that same trigger just the same. So you can actually start killing opposing creatures and planeswalkers, and it proved to be a great answer to Magus of the Moon when everybody was playing the red-green Ponza deck. The boat just turned out to be a great answer, and Eldrazi takes it down. Pretty straightforward.
Turns out Inferno Titan is pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that turns out that showed how mana base is an important thing in Magic.
Yep. Casting your spells is a very powerful move. I mean, he kept a risky hand. He knew what he was getting into. He wasn't happy when looking at the hand, and he made very sure that we could know that he was not sure about it.
Yeah, so on the other hand, without this Sorcerer Spyglass and Vial running around, it wasn't the worst hand ever. Like, they had options to work with. They had Land Arbiter on turn 3, so it would be 1 turn too slow to stop map. Talia, but on the other hand, what Talia should stop on turn 3 instead of turn 2?
If that
to say, to be honest.
nearly as good against Eldrazi Tron as it is Classic Tron, because Walking Ballista is way more prevalent than Eldrazi Tron, and it just, you spent 2 mana? Oh, I can spend 2 mana and answer it really cleanly. And Eldrazi Tron isn't as built around 7 mana turn 3 as Classic Green Tron is, so they're perfectly fine just playing land drops, going turn 2, Walking Ballista turn 3, Thought Knot Seer into turn 4 Smasher. Francisco, we have a request for a boat noise. What is this boat noise?
This is actually something that we have in my stream. Let me pull it out real quick. There we go.
I hope you heard that.
All aboard the boat! All aboard!
Oh my God!
Oh yeah, my stream is quality content, as you can see.
Yeah, I'm considering subscribing right now because.
We couldn't hear it. Oh, that's brutal. I was hearing it.
You have to pick up on your mic, I guess.
Oh, that's fair.
Chat, if you want to listen.
Sorry, chat.
If you want to listen to that bot, you consider subscribing to
Nice.
This tournament is all about the players. Please subscribe to the players you like. If you like the boat, if you want to hear this mysterious boat noise, subscribe to Francisco. If you want to learn more about dredge and combo decks, check out Sodek. Speaking of that,
it's better to check my Patreon because I have 0 emotes, so maybe I should have 1 at least. Maybe it's a thing to do in the near future. You know.
That's good stuff.
We haven't had a single dad joke yet tonight, so
yeah. Marcus moves on. Going back to the Magic. Marcus moves on.
Spider Space's Taxes deck is out of there, gone, removed from the tournament. No more Spider Space Taxes deck. Spider Space falls to the losers bracket at X and 1, and Marcus moves on. So this is very, very interesting. The next match we have Capolo, who started last Modern Streamers League 0-3 or 0-4 and starting out on fire 1-0, which is a big difference from starting out 0-3, 0-4. We have a deck tech. He will be on humans against K-Ponce. Not exactly sure what deck K-Ponce will be on yet, but we will have a quick deck tech before that next match. K-Ponce versus Capolo. So quick break, and we'll be right back with that deck tech and then that match. We'll see you in a minute.
Hello, Capolo here, and this is my human deck list. I took the list that won the Super PTQ from Magic Online, and I made some changes in the sideboard, so not my idea. But this is basically like a classic humans deck list from what has been for like the past few years, but we have few new additions. We have General Kudra, that is really good as an anthem and an answer for the graveyard. So it's really a bit disruptive for people that play Lurus. Another card that we can play Giganta for free because all of our cards meet the companion requirement. So it's just an extra card to have in the sideboard. It's nothing amazing, but it's an extra 5/5 that you can have if you float out. So it's good to have. The only thing you cannot play it if you side in Orc Champion, for example against Burn or Shadow or like something similar, because the requirements are not met. But that's fine. As I said, like usual humans deck list. In the sideboard, my choices are one Kambal for like control and like Storm. I know Caleb is in the league, so we need some Storm Hate. And Collector Oof, as usual, for artifact decks is a Nombo with Ether Via, but I think it's fine. The upside when we set it in is higher. Then Gravedigger's Cage, extra Graveyard Hate, even though we have Kudra. Like sometimes it's too slow against Dredge, so we need to have extra early hate. Other cards in the sideboard, Knight of Autumn against enchantments, artifacts, or just burn, or just a random creature to bring in. Deputy of Detention is a good removal spell for like problematic permanents or just the mirror. I think it's pretty good. You have like a one-off special contortion that can be used as a extra removal spell. We have several lands that produces colorless, as we have like 4 Unclaimed Territory and 4 Cavern of Souls. So it's not unrealistic to use special contortion. Misha Bugler is for the grinding matchups. And I think that's about it. Let's hope to win with some games with this sweet deck list.
All right, so here we have humans versus Capons, which we don't know what he's playing just yet. No companions revealed, though.
That's true. Also, Capolo showed Giganta as hello Capolo.
Yeah, basically Giganta is just a free roll, right? Like the humans deck just even before right now basically didn't have any card in its entire configuration that actually had a double colored pips. So basically they are just free rolling. It's basically a 5-mana 5/5.
Yeah,
but it's free for them to play, so they play it.
Yeah. So about the hand, the corner underhand with only one champion of the parish without Vial was the keep, obviously. Now we have a 6-card hand with 3 2-drops, and Horizon Canopy appear as a redraw in future. So not having any 1-drop in humans is a big problem. But maybe Tireless Lieutenant can help you to come back after your tempo loss early.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So once again,
Capons, another Taxes specialist. So it is not really that much of a surprise to see him doing his thing over here. And we're gonna see the turn 2 Kite Sail over the other two. This makes a lot of sense to me. Now we can hopefully snipe Path to Exile or something like that. But worst case scenario, we are creating a 2/3 or maybe bigger. Ghost Squatter might have something to say about that, though. Okay, so we see the double Ghost Squatter with the hand of Thought-Knot Seer, Reality Smasher.
Yeah, that's my favorite moment here. Actually, because like that's another point why Taxes as a concept of the deck is just bad, because if you don't have Vial, you have to your mana curve is not that low because of footnote 6 and so on. So sometimes you just have to sacrifice your mana curve very high to hope to stop the opponent. Couple just drew. It's flooded, so it's a perfect hand and perfect draw to.
That draw is actually quite excellent here. He's going to be able to name probably, I would imagine, Thought-Knot here. Yeah. He's going for the Thought-Knot. Again, like K-Pon said, he hasn't missed a land drop yet, but he chose to go for this super aggressive double ghost quarter line. And he's going to get super punished because actually Capola was flooded. He was super happy when to see that Kevin was going to be ghost quartering him. He was probably pretty excited about that. And now we're going to see what the humans deck does better than all the other, kind of like critters or hate bears decks, which is going big. All the other hate bears deck have a problem. Like all of the creatures are just 2/2s, right? Now the humans deck has a bunch of 2/2s, but they also have anthem effects or lord effects. What do we see here? Which is creatures that buff the other creatures. And as you can see, this is massive here, right? We are now, before we had the Leonin Arbiter actually getting in there and doing some damage, and now there's a 3/3 meddling mage, which is completely just non-trespassable, right? It's just
it's a huge obstacle for the opponent. Okay, so I think this game is maybe not locked, but it's very. It will be very hard for Taxes player to come back. Generally speaking, humans is a tax deck which has a late game compared to Taxes. So I just like this matchup is probably very hard for Taxes players, because like I don't see how you can, unless you go Arbiter and exactly like I don't know how to pronounce it, Knopce, K-Pons, yeah? K-Pons did. Just attack the mana base and hope that will stumble, but they didn't, and then like I don't see how, like what has to happen.
Wow, look at this aggressive attack.
I
he's just saying if you wanna double block, that's cool. I will take the 2-for-1. You can cast your Thought-Knot Seer after that if you want. I don't care. Your Thought-Knot Seer just does not matter because my creatures are bigger than yours. And I'm attacking in the air as well. We also have access to a 5/5 next turn. So
easy game.
Big attack, and of course Kevin just cannot even punish him. We're gonna see the Reality Smasher come down here probably. Maybe he goes for the Thought-Knot. Yeah, I guess that he didn't know that he had a land in hand, so he was trying to snipe that very last card in hand. But yeah, and of course, after seeing that there was another land, just packs it in.
Easy. So post sideboard, this matchup looks even better for humans in my opinion, because you have Miniature Bugler, some Deputy of Detonation, even another Lord. Your
Collector Oof also a pretty big game if Kevin is playing. I don't know which list he's playing. He's probably playing the one that is running Chalices. So I would imagine that Collector Oof not very good there, but against Vial or for example like the version that we saw Spider Space playing earlier, the Collector Oof can be a big game against all the equipment and the other vials and stuff. All right, so we get the word there that K-Pon says on a Vial with no Chalice list. So I would expect him to bring in the Knight of Autumns. For certain, I would like to see the Militia Buglers coming in for sure.
Yeah, Buglers are the most important in my opinion here.
Yeah.
But I'm not the biggest fan of Knight of Autumn here.
Yeah,
you can play
I think it's more of a matter that there's cards that you're excited to take out of your deck, like Thalias and the Freebooters, and the Knight of Autumn is just like the best card out of the ones in your sideboard, basically.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if you look what's Eldrazi Tax's plan is to stop your mana base from working. Increasing your mana curve is not the best. Like, it's not the best thing in the world to increase your mana curve when your lands are attacked.
Yep, I agree with that. And here we see the actual cost of Giganta, right? We see Spatial Contortion in Capolo's hand instead of Dismember, exactly, which would be a lot easier to cast. But because of Giganta's requirement, in order for it to be your companion, you cannot put Dismember in your deck. So we see Spatial Contortion instead. But this hand, what do you think about Capolo's hand here?
I'm not the biggest fan. Obviously, if he draws a land, it's an easy way because you can just go for Mantis, then Reflector later, and you should just be able to overpower it even with Kudra. On the other hand, Capons drew Quarter, and if he has Arbiter and maybe attacks the mana a bit, there's a chance to actually steal this game, like he tried game one.
Yeah, and actually you see that Capolo chose to go for the Ancient Cigarette instead of playing the Canopy on turn one in order to save a little bit of life, obviously, because the Canopy was basically just forces him to be casting, to be paying life every time that he was to tap it for mana. But Cigarette cannot cast a Spatial Contortion, though. So...
Okay, never mind.
Charming Prince. We're good.
Well done. It's at 2020 and we are playing Charming Prince.
2 mana, 2/2 Scry 2. All right.
Oh,
all right.
Maybe we are playing Brawl or something like this, and maybe that's the reason. And land from the top like a pro.
Yeah, that's a great draw, and it's actually one of the good lands too. So that's awesome. So we're gonna see the Meddling Mage coming down now. What would you name if you had to name Meddling Mage? If you were casting Meddling Mage here?
Probably Lone Arbiter, just to protect your mana, because you like all the other cards aren't that scary. Like even if opponent goes Thought-Knot Seer, you have so many different threats to different cards to work with that Thought-Knot is not a problem.
I was considering Path to Exile. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if opponent paths your Meddling Mage, that's perfectly fine for you because it gives you mana early, and your mana curve in your hand is so high that you actually want to get this land. Opponent
Interesting.
Named...
Going for Stomp. That is Stomp is the
one
adventure.
Half of, the adventure card.
The adventure, the shock.
Springer.
That one is big game.
Yeah, on the other hand, you have Spider Contortion, and Mantis Rider matches up quite nicely with Hashbringer.
Yeah, I guess the Mantis Rider doesn't care about Hashbringer too much, huh?
And also, Capons has only 2 lands, and once again, he has a maybe Wasteland action, maybe Stripine action even, but if you are on a screw, sacrificing your lands is not the best way to fight it. And now humans are doing what they really like to do, just playing Mantis Riders and overwhelm the opponent. So now Capons is forced to show any form of removal for Mantis Riders because now a Rider can attack for another 6 damage and threaten lethal next turn to charm or use a displacer.
And this is so much pressure.
Yeah, and then Spinal Contortion will just finish. So I think the play here is another Mantis Rider. Okay, I don't like this play actually because your mana curve is filled with free CMC and you want to develop your board.
Yeah, so I would agree with that.
So Mantis Rider should just keep attacking.
Yeah, also by playing the second Mantis Rider, you're basically forcing Kevin to spend his entire turn in order to blink the Mantis Rider, just so he doesn't die.
Yeah, or at least just to waste a removal spell on a vanilla creature, kind of. And then you can safely play, for example, Kudro and take over the game with your Anthem effects.
Exactly.
Or Reflector.
I still don't think it's going to matter. Yeah, like he's so far ahead. Multiple land drops missed by Kevin, and again, like we talked about how like the way that the Taxes matchup, the Taxes deck wins the matchup is by getting to the board quickly and then disrupting the mana, and we just don't see that. We just see Campolo just making his land drops and just playing out dudes that are bigger and better than what Kevin has to offer.
Yeah, that's true. Also, it has to be said, Campolo was quite lucky with his draws. Oh, this stomp name actually worked.
Exactly, coming in clutch. There you go.
That was handsome. Once again, drawing lands when you need them. It's a perfect recipe to win. And see the curve now. Now you still can play only one spell per turn. If you last turn played Mantis Rider, you would be able to cast Kudro or Reflector plus Panther Contortion.
Exactly, double spell in here would have been. I mean, again, I don't think it's going to matter. I think this game is pretty much over. Yeah, exactly. And Kevin agrees, and Campolo advances over Kevin Pons.
Yeah,
pretty straightforward match.
It was a typical human match. Like you are taking a full advantage of your mana base to play the best possible creatures. So you are overpowering all opponents' fair creature plan. Even if opponent can attack your mana base and can do some fancy cool tricks, still your creatures are just better because they are the best among 5 colors, not only 2. So
exactly.
That was the main. Like humans were very favored at the beginning. This game 1 was kind of unfortunate for K-Pons because Campolo was flatted, and game 2 was just like the typical game of Magic the Gathering from the human player.
Yeah, exactly. We saw that, just like bigger, faster, better.
We're seeing Taxes decks not win tonight in the Modern Streamers League. Is that because Taxes decks aren't very good, or because the other decks just were better?
Well, none of the Taxes decks were playing a companion, right? Like Spider Space was actually playing some companions, but he was playing them in the main deck. He wasn't starting the game with 8 cards in his hand. So if you want to play fair and you're not playing companions, you are just shooting yourself in the foot, basically, because your opponents that are playing fair are going to be playing companions. So starting every single game with 1 less card in your hand, it adds up. It's just the way it is.
Also, all these games showed the basic problems with Taxes deck. First, mana base. Like we saw the game when the mana screw was a problem, and Spider Space had to attack his own mana base just to be able to cast spells. Underpowered creatures compared to what humans are doing, your creatures are just smaller than average aggro deck in a format. Your bigger creatures like Thought-Knot Seer or Reality Smasher, when you are not powering them up and playing ahead on your mana curve, your typical mana curve, your Thought-Knot Seer on turn 4 is not as exciting than on turn 3, and the same with Smasher.
Or turn 2.
Yeah. Turn 2 Thought-Knot the dream.
Still have flashbacks about those.
But that showed the basic problems. Of course, if you have Vial at the start, the deck is much better. Of course, also both Taxes matchups were an upkeep battle. Both humans and Eldrazi Tron aren't the best matchups. So it's a very small sample size. But if you want to play an Eldrazi Taxes deck, you just have to be aware that these problems exist, and you will just lose from time to time to your own mana and to your own being bad deck. How to say it in a different way?
That might be one
Shots
of
fired.
the biggest things in Magic that competitive players get asked all the time. I just saw on the Facebook group for Dredge, someone asked you, I think they asked you, Sodek, if one of the check lands was a good substitute for a fast land in Dredge. And I saw it and I was like, keep scrolling. I was like, do not engage, do not engage. And I think you replied like, basic mountain would be better than a check land. It's just, yes, mana bases are important. There's a reason why fetch lands are expensive, because they're good. There's a reason why dual lands are so expensive, because everybody should have them if you're playing a 2 or 3 color deck. Being able to consistently cast the cards that you're playing is the most important thing in Magic. We're all trying to get consistency. Amulet Titan became a much better deck when it became more consistent at generating turn 3 and even turn 4 Titans when it was, as opposed to just being an all-in combo deck, in my opinion. I think when decks become better at achieving their own game 1 game plan, that's when decks become dangerous. And I think a deck like Taxes, they're very fun to play. Taxes decks are so fun to play. The problem though is even if you achieve your game plan, sometimes your opponent just go, so?
Yeah. Like
sometimes you'll play a Thalia.
That's my favorite.
Sometimes you play a Thalia and your opponent will go, Primeval Titan? Like sometimes you'll play a Leonin Arbiter and your opponent will go, Grape Shot you for 20? Like, I mean, it just, your own primary game plan is hinging upon the interactions you're doing with your opponent mattering. And if they don't, they don't.
Exactly. It's a lot about metagame calls and that kind of stuff. I mean, I still remember when Boschenroll is his name on Twitter, Brian Koval. He won an invitational with Death and Taxes in Modern. And he literally, the day after he tweeted, don't play the deck, it's unplayable. And he won the event. And he's like, yes, I grabbed this deck and I played it because I knew the meta that I was expecting to face in the invitational. And he destroyed it. Like, he destroyed it and he felt so far ahead every single match. And you would see him and he was breezing through every single match. And then it was over, the event was over, and he's like, yeah, this deck is now unplayable. Don't ever play it again. It was the deck for that tournament, and that's it. It would need to be a very, very different metagame. I don't know what that metagame looks like. I have no idea. But maybe there is a metagame out there where these kind of decks really get to shine. But yeah, like I actually faced it. Yeah, exactly. It's possible that it banks on Thalia and Leonardo really, really mattering, which is possible. And like then there are some like tech cards like Mirror Crusader, which needs to matter. Like in that moment, the Shadow decks were all the rage, and they were not playing Lightning Bolts because they were terrible in the mirror. So they had literally no answer to Mirror Crusader. So Mirror Crusader just would get in there and just like win on a single swing.
Yep. Do you have TVR? No?
Exactly.
I win.
No, exactly. So it is one of those things that it needs to be very specific. But yeah, the other day I actually faced it twice in a prelim, which I thought was pretty funny because I hadn't seen the deck ever, basically. But yeah, those decks were actually playing Lures as a companion, right? Not the fairway.
As we were talking about before, I think a fair deck needs a companion. Otherwise, you need to generate value on your own, or you just need to ignore value.
Exactly.
The next match we have coming up is Garrett against Aspiring Spike. Following that, we will have Drake against me, and I'm currently undefeated still in the Modern Streamers League. I know Kevin's in the chat, so I started out 10-0 last tournament. Now I'm 1-0. So can Drake take me down, or am I too hot to handle? I don't know. We'll find out pretty soon.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Coming up next is Garrett against Aspiring Spike, who just yesterday made the Pro Tour. We'll be back in just a minute.
All right, here we go. Garrett Martin. Let's see what Garrett's going to be doing. Probably some form of Absent Company. That is his weapon of choice more often than not. And exactly.
Oh my god.
To the
again.
surprise of absolutely nobody, we get greeted by the mono 3-drop hand. You seem to also have some very strong thoughts about Absent Company, right? Sodek, tell me how you feel. Tell me how you really feel.
I'm not a fan of the archetype at all. I think it's clunky, slow, and it doesn't work. But from time to time, it can attack the metagame from the right angle. I think Devoted to it is just a much better way to do more or less the same thing. On the other hand, if you are fighting a value, like, okay, before Companion era, that was the thing, with some kitchen things, Kiliot, Ranger, Coco, and so on.
Yeah.
You was able to.
So Spike did reveal Allurus. So I don't know which form of Allurus we're going to be seeing. Probably Jund is what I would guess out of the blue, but it could be anything. But yeah, Garrett actually mulliganed down to 6, and then it led on the turn 1 Noble Hierarch. Hopefully setting up. Yeah, hopefully setting up a Finks or Ranger Captain. All right, so we actually have a blue source. So this is actually Delver. Grixis Delver. Turn 2 Kitchen Finks is what we see. And yeah, I mean, these are all 2-for-1s, right? This is kind of like the way you want to battle here, so.
Yeah, that's true. Also, this Walking Ballista represents a response to Lurus. So if you are lucky enough to resolve it, maybe you can later come back. Also, Ranger represents a Carrion Feeder as a combo piece to Kitchen Finks. Although I don't think that combo will matter that much in this match because of how many different removal spells Grixis Lurus list has.
Yeah, exactly. And we would see like that strategy is back in the day with pod decks. They would side out the combos, the clunky small combo pieces in the interactive matchups. We do see turn 2 Sprite Dragon and a Cord. Okay, so what does this mean?
It means.
All right. Okay, so this Ballista also a 2-for-1.
Yeah, this Ballista is kind of interesting, but that's the question. Do you want to answer Lurus or do you want to answer this Sprite while it's not very big? That's the interesting question. Also, because of mana base, Aspiring Sprite is at 11, so that's kind of hard to overcome. Okay, Lightning Bolt takes care of Ballista. So
Yeah.
nice 2-for-1 with 1 damage. Also, if Grixis player is not playing around stuff, Garrett can go end of turn Horde of Calling into Ranger into combo on Infinite Life.
Exactly. And he can actually sack the Ranged Captain to protect his own combo even.
Yeah, that's true. So so I actually like position like opponent company position here. Like having
this kitchen fix is delivering the beats, let me tell you.
Yeah, like this kitchen things forces a Aspiring Spike to do anything. Oh, and that's the interesting thing. I don't like this Horde of Calling because you are giving your opponent a way to use his mana effectively. While you have these kitchen things, you should just attack and keep attacking and maybe use your Horizon Canopy, maybe deploy your first and just keep having this Horde of Calling open.
Yeah, just like force your opponent to interact with you before you're forced to interact with them, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that's true. On the other hand, this knight, like this Horde of Calling bited mana leak, so now you have like a lot of power, so it should be enough to
each one of these creatures is lethal now. So and Spike still cannot cast Lurus, and we see him conceded by just backing it up. There's nothing that. Oh, Veils coming in from the cyber. Those are big game.
Yes, that's true. Like also, I really like Veil of Summer in decks with the mana dork because this Veil of Summer is not affecting your mana curve that hard.
Yep, it is pretty nice.
Also, I really like
God of Affliction. Now that's a card. Now that is a card. We see that Garrett's list actually has the actual combo here. We see Murderous Redcap and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Citing out the Mirror Crusader, how do you feel about that? Do you like Mirror Crusader in this matchup?
Actually, I don't because it dies to Lightning Bolt, so it's not very good. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Also, Seal of Fire is a thing, so unless I'm missing something, it's just a very bad heart. Although
it doesn't die to push or Keiko Man, so there you go.
That's true. Like I think that these sprite decks are higher on Lightning Bolts. So okay, this is the dream hand for Absent Company.
Turn to kitchen things, baby.
No, unless there are some problems. Maybe not.
No, collected company. That's okay.
Oh boy, that's
there we go.
Yeah, okay, maybe Gutshot will save as Spike.
All right, now here we go.
Okay,
Spike choosing to put a clock on the table before actually interacting with what Garrett's doing, which I actually like. I think that speaking of putting clock into play, which I actually think I like because given I think that Garrett's deck actually has a ton of value. Oh wow, that's awkward. So he can't even cast the red cap here because he doesn't have double black. That's pretty cool.
That's funny. Like I'm in the opposite side of this. If your opponent has so much value in his deck, like kitchen things, collected components, so on, and you are in a play, your best thing to do is to make sure that they won't be ahead on mana. So because you are not running a play, so you will have a tempo advantage. So as long as you have the removal spell, you should kill the dork. Like this game showed that opponent didn't have the removal spell because they should play it even on this turn 3 to make these Sprite Dragons bigger. Okay, now we see Seal of Fire.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that if he had the removal spell on turn 1, this game would have been completely different, right? Imagine if right now if they were just literally nothing on board, right? Because like I guess it would be like one kitchen things would be all that's on board.
Yeah, like I'm very worried about Mana Leak now. Mana Leak will be brutal.
Yeah. All right.
Because now
potential to turn clock.
losing a race now. Yes.
A potential 2-turn clock. However, Garrett can just collect the company into the nuts here, and he's going for it.
I have to find the combo.
If he finds, okay, so no.
And Tyler.
Heliod was halfway there, but he still needed to have access to the sack outlet, which he couldn't find. And now, with any spell, Spike will get there.
Yeah, with any spell means also any land for red mana because of Lurus plus Seal of Fire.
That's true. That's true.
Although maybe, look, that's something.
Yep. Literally anything just gets there here. I mean, and there's Sprite Dragons. You didn't even notice, but they grow very quickly. They grow super, super quickly. And 2 of them just get it done for Spike on turn 6.
Yeah, and once again, we saw how mana is important. Imagine this game, how this game would be different if Garrett would be able to cast 10 free red cap to kill one of the sprites.
Exactly. Just shutting down that clock on turn 3, right? Yeah. Turn 3.
Maybe not shutting down, but making sure that your spells, you will be able to resolve your spells before it goes down.
Garrett did keep this hand. Very interesting.
I'm also quite I think this hand is okay in my opinion. Like, you have an offense asset to drop your on the play, so you probably can keep a hand without a mana dork. Although
I guess that he has enough business that he's probably going to be, as long as he gets his land drops, he's going to be fine. Ooh, spell snare. That's pretty big. That's pretty big game, especially because there's not that many cards that spell snare actually hits in Garrett's deck. So being able to have such a tempo positive move right there, it's huge. And no 3rd land drop. There we go. Yeah, that is a big problem.
Once again, mana.
Lightning Bolt takes care of the Kyrian feeder there, and now we're gonna see the YOLO Lurus.
It's actually not the YOLO Lurus. It's the best possible Lurus because you are forcing the opponent to path you right away if you have it. So you have more mana to work with.
And I guess I told you didn't see that there was a bubble in there, so yeah. So this is actually a great Lurus.
Yeah. Okay. Kitchen things will stop the bleeding for a bit, so Lurus won't be able to attack, but still will be able to draw cards, and that's the biggest problem.
Lurus doesn't kill you by attacking, does he? Because he eventually, but it's not his priority to attack you to death.
Yeah, and now Garrett is very far behind. Like, once again, a lot with his spells. Okay, not
attacks there.
Opponent can have a counter spell or anything like that, but your mana curve is so high that you will never be able to cast your spells later if you are not doing it now.
Yeah, it's interesting because that Veil was kind of a bad draw for him there, right? Yeah. Because it kind of incentivizes him to not cast anything, but by not casting anything, he's falling further and further behind now, and he knows that he's falling behind because there's an active Lurus, which he actually does not have an answer for. So this sprite really is kind of the most punishing thing, and now. I imagine that, Spike is representing. Yeah, he just time walked himself, as you see, because he doesn't find the land, and now he just has to jam anyway. So he just time walked himself last turn, and
that's the game over in my opinion.
He sees it. He sees it as well. He didn't like that. Rough way to go, but we see Spike moving up over Garrett on Fs & Company. Kitchen things looked very impressive on that game 1, but then fell a little bit shy on both games 2 and 3. And we did see the power of what we were talking about earlier, right? If you're playing fair, playing a companion.
We saw a companion there on the winning deck side, and that Lurus just took over that game when Garrett was behind on mana. Actually, my note when you guys were talking here, I wrote mana matters, and then I underlined it because that's been the theme every single match so far tonight. Mana matters. Ghost Empire versus Spider Space. That we absolutely saw Spider Space lose at least a big deal. At least fell further behind because of his mana. Capons versus Capola, absolutely mana issues there on the Taxi side. And then just now, Garrett against Aspiring Spike. Garrett couldn't cast his spells game 3. And when you can't cast your spells, you can't do anything. You're not going to win.
Also, see that game 1 of this match was also about mana. Aspiring Spike wasn't able to cast his Lurus on time, to just redraw and stop the bleeding with these kitchen things. And that was the first step to like this spiral of falling behind and behind started here.
Yeah, exactly. And lots of one thing that I have learned is that week 2 MSL players tend to keep with your hands. That is the conclusion that I have drawn from the. That's my analysis.
This is the winner's bracket. Remember, this is the winner's bracket you're seeing right now. And players are definitely keeping greedy hands. Now, some players just don't like mulliganing. We know that. We've had conversations about that on stream last season. But I might mulligan too much sometimes. I mulligan to 5 and I'm like,
easy.
Yeah, well, now what do I do?
Turn 3 Titan. Turn 3 Titan and move to 5, easy.
Oh.
That's...
Should I say anything about mulligans as a Dredge player?
I have to tell a Sodek story here. I was watching Sodek on stream and he was playing against Dito, and it was game 3, and Dito was on Grixis Death Shadow, maybe like 4-color Shadow or something. He was a Shadow deck, and Sodek was on Dredge. Sodek's laughing. He knows what this is. And it's game 3, and Sodek looks at his hand. I think he mulled a 6 or something, and it was like a bunch of lands and Stinkweed in. And that was like your entire hand. You're like, I'm on the draw, and you kept it because you were so assuming that turn 1 Thoughtseize, and Dito turn 1 Thoughtseizes you, and you perfectly metagame that. You perfectly knew what was about to happen, and then that Stinkweed Imp got you like 2 creeping. I think you killed him like turn 2 off of that Dredge. It was beautiful.
Like, that's also quite important that I had Forgotten Cave in this hand, so yes. I had a way to speed up. It wasn't only still with this imp it would be a keep, but this that's the power of Forgotten Cave. It's it's very good early and very good late. It's the only problem is when you have to play it as a land, but apart from that, like Forgotten Cave is like different. It does everything a bit. Like it will be very good to prolong your Dredge Chain in early turns, for example, very important on turn 2 to start the Dredge Chain on turn 1, then to do something plus Forgotten Cave to have this 4 or 5 cards more, to dig for more amalgams, more Nerfomidas. And here that was the case, like I flipped and even something, and I played a land in response to Bloody G trigger. I used Forgotten Cave just to find Amalgam and probably another chill to attack with my Bloody G's, so that was fun.
But yeah. Can we substitute Forgotten Cave with a check land? That's the real question.
The memes are flying all over the place today. This is great.
Yeah, I would say the opposite. I think that people underestimated how basic lands are broken in Magic. It's an untapped source all the time. Yep. A lot of action can't attack it because it attacks only non-basic lands. It can be fetchable. You are not losing any life to use them. That's a perfect land. Like when I was playing only combo decks, that was a huge finding for me that basic lands are actually really good in this game.
Yeah, that is always like one of the most common things that I always see with people that are new to Amulet. Like, oh yeah, I am playing like Colony Garden, and I cut 2 of those 4/4s that you play, and I'm playing like Colony Garden and Bojuka Boy in the main deck, and like Cavern of Souls, and it's just like.
And that's probably with Castle Garenbrig in their deck too, right? Like,
yeah, it's just one of the things that Basic Forest is so nuts. Basic Forest is the nuts. Like, you want to make room for more Basic Forests, right? It's not like, oh, I have to cut a land, let's cut the basic. No, the opposite. What can I cut so I can make room for a Basic Forest? That is the question that you should be asking yourself.
One thing I think Astrolabe has done is Astrolabe has put us in a spot where more modern players are playing more basic lands again, which is correct to do. But the fact that it, like, a card that had to be very, very strong is the reason why we are doing this is kind of bonkers. That's the reason why players are playing more basic lands. It's not because they're good. It's not because they're you can get them for free. Like, effectively, you go to LGS, you get basic lands for free. It's none of those reasons. It's because they're just good.
Yeah, they're good. Play your basics, and of course, always try to have respect for the game, right? Have nice basics. They're not too expensive. Some of them you can get some nice.
I would say exactly the opposite. If you are playing basics, you should check your run station in your LGS and make sure your basics are not the same. That's the most important thing to do.
God damn it, Sodek.
Sorry. Like we have our like Islands in Front from Twitter. He's a blue-white control player in Modern Pioneer, and he loves his beta islands. So, and he's in our local game store, Sref MTG. I would love to say hello to them. And when he started to play, when he bought his beta islands, just to have a nice basics, we decided to go for a full trade builder / land station movement. And right now, like maybe not half of Poland, but many other players are playing mismatch basics right now, and that's
so disgusting.
That's only because of Islands in Front. So you can post a mismatch basics very very surprised.
Tough beats.
So I do want to apologize for the visual flickering we're having. This is.
I swear I'm still here.
Yeah,
I swear I'm still here.
Fran is still there. Skype does not like us tonight. I don't know if it's because we're an international tournament and they just don't like cross-country Skype calls. I don't know. I'm going to look into a reason to fix this when we're not live. I spent a little bit of time trying to fix it like a minute before we launched when it started happening, but I do apologize for that. But thankfully our audio content is very good with these very good commentators, Francisco and Sodek. Be sure to check out their Twitch pages because they are great. I do want to remind everyone we are sponsored by Wizards of the Coast and by Card Hoarder. They are fantastic companies, and definitely check them out. Although if you're watching this stream or this YouTube video, you definitely know both of them. You've definitely already checked them out. Continue to do so. The last match is playing against the currently undefeated, if we go back to last year, 11-0 Saint Doom, that's myself, against Drake Sasser. So we'll see if Drake, or one of the co-hosts last week, can take me down. I will be playing an Abzan Company deck, which didn't seem to work so well for Garrett, so let's hope it will work a little bit better for me. We'll have a quick break.
So can I bet the result now?
What was that?
Like, you are playing an Abzan Company, so I can guess the result. What do you think about this? Okay, chat. Okay, chat. everyone are trying to guess the result of this match. I will say 0-2 because how I think that Amazon Company is a powerful deck. It actually isn't. So So
it is
so
debatable,
come on, chat.
and we'll see at the end of this if
It is debatable.
if I lose with Abs and Company, then you guys can walk away and say, okay, what lost tonight? Kitchen Finks decks and Taxes decks, and you can walk away and say, Kitchen Finks sucks, Taxes deck sucks. That's certainly a viable argument if I lose. If I
Sounds
win,
good.
however, you can just say Kitchen Finks sucks, Taxes deck sucks, but that's Saint Doom. Whew, that's Saint Doom. He is on fire.
If you win, I will post on Twitter.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
Just
wow. The stakes are high. The stakes are high.
Well, I want to win just because I want to be the first MSL 12-0. So I want to win for that, but I also want to win to be featured on Sodek's Twitter. We'll be back in just a minute after a short break, which will feature, I don't know if you guys have noticed this yet, but every single break has got updated bracket information thanks to Muddy Creek working diligently. So definitely look at these brackets over the break.
Brackets hype. Yeah, dude, like Skype today is rough. We never had this. It was never this bad before. That's crazy.
Maybe it's because of the actual distances. Three continents right now, yes. US,
No.
Argentina, and
Yeah, I'm in LA. I'm in Los Angeles.
oh, you are in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I live there.
So like I was thinking about okay. You are an.
All right, here we go with Saint Doom. How do we like this hand?
Okay.
The classic turn 3 infinite mana, absolutely nothing to do with it. You love
I also
to
love the support because you have infinite mana turn 3 plus 3 mana dogs.
Exactly.
So that's I really like.
So much mana on turn. Okay.
On the other hand, like if you play Noble Hierarch, there's a big chance that this Burst of Paradise will die. So Sidon decided to mulligan this. So now he has Skyrocket there, some things, Spike
right.
there too.
Spike
okay, so Archangel of the Tune.
Wow.
Is somewhere probably.
Wow. I still remember back in Extended when The Rock, when Spirit Monger was released in Apocalypse. Yeah. That deck played Spike Feeder, I think. That was 20 years ago, so yeah.
There was a moment when green-white Spike Feeder Archangel of Tune was a good deck. Actually, it was a quite nice counter to Eldrazi Winter, to Blue-White Eldrazi.
Yeah, that's true.
It was a creature combo deck which didn't use a graveyard. So like the most common attack to Absorb Company decks was Rest in Peace. So this Spike Feeder Archangel was playing around it.
Exactly.
Okay, so
we're keeping this one then.
I will probably have to, but once again, mana curve.
Yeah. It is kind of what it is. We have a 1-drop on 1 though. It's not the best 1-drop on 1, but I guess it will do.
That's a spell, no.
Yeah, at least we're casting something. But yeah, I mean, basically, of course, your opponent reveals Lurus, like that Kitchen Finks is gonna be great, right? Like this is basically why you're keeping this hand. Double Kitchen Finks is kind of what you want to be doing. Also, Saint Doom, come on, man, mismatching fetches.
That's what I like the style, to be honest. So
brutal.
Okay, Seal of Fire.
Right. Seal of Fire. Finale of Devastation. Okay. Still more cards that we cannot cast. It's a rough way to open. To be fair, though, if we had found like hierarchy or something like that, this Seal of Fire would have taken care of it. So it's not like things would be much different.
So actually, that's having not having a mana dork instead having a carrion feeder is better because you are just dealing damage to the op. Like that. That's a quite interesting thing. Think about Seal of Fire, about using it. If opponent is very hard on removal, he would probably use this Seed of Fire. Oh, maybe not, to be honest, because you want to kill the Voted Druid SAP, and you are keeping this mana up now too. So
yeah, I don't think that that this 1/1 is pressuring you.
I was overthinking here.
Yeah, I think that this is just fine.
Yeah.
Interesting fetch pre-combat into attack phase. Clearly, we're telling something there. But yeah, here comes the things. So let's hope that it's good, because there's another one where this one came from.
Pavlush, what do you think about these basic planes?
I'm not a fan of the snow planes when you don't have to play them.
I'm not a fan too, because I think that Sandom has Horde of Colic in the deck.
Yep.
So having this green.
We have Hordes, and he does. He's trying to protect his life total, and he's also trying to. He's trying to make sure that he can cast something like a Ranger Captain of Eos. So he wants to have double green and double blue. So yeah, we see Finale though in hand, which he can still cast only for 1 right now. Unfortunately, mana has not been completed. The good thing is that he's been drawing spells, so that's something.
Okay, that's finally a time when I'm checking the list. So there's no Horde of Calling, so grabbing these planes is fine here.
Yeah, I guess grabbing the planes is just okay. It makes sense. And there's nothing, maybe Assassin's Trophy out of Drake. Not sure, but yeah, here we see. I mean, this is why you play Kitchen Finks, right? We see Drake pushing Kitchen Finks only for it to come back as a 2/1. So this is the plan. This is the game plan for Saint Doom. Like, he's not going to go for any combo shenanigans. He's not going to try to go for anything crazy like that. He just wants to get his value in. If he can finale for Eternal Witness, that's exactly what he's going to be. In fact, that's probably his goal. That's probably his goal. Probably.
Okay, chat. What do you think about this Kitchen Things now? We were laughing and telling funny jokes about the card, but it was actually a 2-for-1.
Yeah, it was a 2-for-1. It doesn't matter because Lurus is a 700 for 1. So.
That's true. Like
my bad. 700 for 0. 700 for 0, because it didn't cost it didn't cost Drake a card. It was just there. It's a nice little bonus. But yeah, here we see Ranger Captain takes the damage. No problem. He knows that he's going to be taking over here as long as things don't spiral out of control. So this Lurus Revival is pretty huge for him. Again, Saint-Doom continues presenting some 2-for-1s. The question is, are they enough?
So Seal of Fire means that Kitchen Things will die now.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be a battle between. Okay, maybe not, because if Saint-Doom sacrifices this knight to stop the op from casting his spells, it's probably.
I don't think you can afford to do that. You would be trading your 3/3 for a 2/1.
Yeah, and
so
it's not a winning line here, because that next turn it will still happen.
Exactly.
So Kitchen Things are destroyed now.
Yeah, this is not looking good at all for Saint-Doom here. He got all his value and all that fun stuff, but I mean, Lurus
and trophy.
Lurus came down. We already deal with 2 creatures, just dealing with kitchen things the hard way. I mean, we see the power of this card, right?
Yeah.
Like it's pretty insane. It
Yeah,
really is.
versus this fair creature decks is just like this, especially combined with Seal of Fire, it's just so devastating. Okay, chat, what do you think
This
about
is-
kitchen things now?
this is exactly what Saint Doom needed, though. An answer
it's
to
not
Lurus. So I mean, this is the only way that we continue playing Magic right here. Let's see if Drake can punish him somehow with a K command or
Unearth.
God forbid an Unearth. Yeah, exactly. Because with the Unearth, we keep on going. The party doesn't even stop with Unearth.
Okay, so some redraws, so that's a sign of weakness.
All right. Maybe we have a game here. Whoops, sorry, apologize for that. Maybe we have a game here.
Okay, Spike Feeder is another cool card, but no kappa really. I think it's
Kappa.
it's a not the worst card to draw here. So final of devastation is set up. Opponent kind of needs to kill the Voodoo Druid. Maybe not now, but like it will probably do it next turn, because you never want your opponent to end up with the Voodoo Druid, because it's just asking for problems.
Mm-hmm.
For problems.
So do you think we're gonna see a finale for Heliod then Spike Feeder? Is that Saint Doom's plan?
What do you think about this Merson Pulse? Unless opponent is stacked with Sorcery Speed removal, I'm not a fan of this Merson Pulse. Okay, so now we have Spike Feeder. Final Devastation is...
We're doing it for 3. Let's see what's up. Interesting that he chose to shock instead of using the Birds of Paradise there. Maybe he's going for another Ranger Captain, and that's what he's trying to set up.
Maybe. On the other hand, I think that Eternal Witness is the most... I don't even know how to say it.
Okay, here we go.
It looks powerful, but I don't think it can be. Okay, Heliod. Oh,
He is going for the Heliod.
Okay, so Saint Doom won this round. So
yeah.
Undestructible threat versus opponent full on removal, because they are not playing any other spells. So that means that if they don't have lands because they are not playing it and no creatures, this looks like a heavy removal situation. So,
Drake has no clock to speak of, and now that after the Lurus got answered, however, those Seal of Fires though are basically onboard answers to this combo. So I would imagine that he's
that's a cool draw.
Yeah,
so
Spike
Feeder now can be played, and you can use his ability. In response, Seal of Fire will take care of Spike Feeder. In response, you can use Heliod, but second Seal of Fire will still be able to kill Spike Feeder before any combo actions happens. So I think now Saint Doom can just try to overpower it and go for another Spike Feeder, wait, and go later. Also going for Eternal Witness to return Rabbi's Call. maybe that's a play.
All right, so we're going for Scavenging Ooze. Is that what we're picking here? That's actually a very interesting pick, right? It answers the Lurus for good. Yeah, and it can actually potentially outdraw these seals or draw both of the seal activations, meaning that the Spike Feeder will actually be free to do its thing.
I'm not the biggest fan of this. Maybe it still is the best thing to find here, but okay, he just tries to use Lurus. But this game looks like Giant player has a lot of removal, or just dead cards. If they have dead cards, it probably doesn't matter what you are searching for. And if I think that even more removal, this course is not super exciting. I would go for some form of card advantage here instead. But we'll see how it
Yeah,
it would work out.
that's what I was considering. I was thinking that he could have gone for the Eternal Witness whole situation, but he's choosing to go for the Scavenging Ooze instead. I think that he's trying to set up the combo with Spike Feeder. And here we see going for the Lurus, and okay, now we target. Drake actually, in response to the trigger, goes ahead and, he lets the trigger resolve.
That's a nice trick here.
Wow, this is some next level stuff by Drake here. Just letting the Scooz become up to a 6/6. So I would imagine that he has some kind of fatal push or something
Maybe.
like that. That is what it would tell me from Saint Doom's perspective. Yeah, exactly. We see that exactly there. Assassin's Trophy makes an appearance. So the size of the use doesn't really matter. All right, so we still have the onboard Seal of Fire.
Yeah, but do you think that using the first Seal of Fire was a good call here?
Using the Seal of Fire on the bird?
Yes.
So I think the Drake was afraid that the Scavenging Ooze is going to gain 2 life, right? Which represents 2 triggers, 2+1/+1 counters from the Helia. So that would have made the bird a 2/3. We could actually clock Drake, and we see exactly that, right? Like Drake has 0 cards in hand. I guess now he has 1, but yeah. Oh, he actually placed the land. I was gonna say he might want to hold that up because of Cooligan's Command, but he actually goes ahead. Yeah, now he's just threatening the combo. So he's threatening the combo. And he's forcing Drake to make the move first.
Yeah, so that if Sindom ever untaps the game, maybe it's not over, but it will be very hard to respond.
Yeah. The good thing about this move, of course, is the fact that it turns a Spike Feeder into a 2-for-1, right? Or a quote unquote 2-for-1, I guess. And if Saint Doom draws any other way of gaining life, that could potentially represent infinite life for him because it actually gives him the upper hand.
Okay, so infinite life should beat Saint Doom. There's no any way to beat. Maybe on the Magic Online there is, because you won't gain infinite life. So for example, some 1,000 or something like this. So maybe
for sure.
a Brand Ultimate can power through that.
Exactly. This is one of the awkward things that happens in this kind of. Well, that's actually not a bad draw, but we see exactly what I was mentioning earlier. Exactly. Now Drake clearly drew a K command here, and we're going to see like by not holding that land in play. Now the Governing Township is going to be gone.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Drake knows that there's no. Drake knows that there's no Court of Calling. But yeah, we see the discard of the Governing Township. But yeah, I mean, this Ren is going to take over because there's a Nurturing Peatland in Drake's graveyard, which means that he's going to be drawing 2 cards a turn to St. Doom's 1. So unless he draws something like a Collected Company, and like right now, we're gonna definitely be seeing Drake.
Baron Moore. Baron is even better because you're not sacrificing your land drops and you're wasting.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, at this stage of the game, you don't need more land drops. So
yeah, he can cast literally all the spells left in his deck, basically. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. This is basically that's what Drake needed. Literally anything. And Croxeye is actually a great type of anything because it kills you very quickly.
That's true.
So yeah, this Croxeye basically represents 9 life every single turn. And that is actually going to be, wow. I guess with the Ren is going to be a 2-turn clock. So Saint Doom will need something very good right here.
I think that Spike Peter is the best draw you can present.
Yeah,
Spike Peter, Final Devastation, and also Eternal Witness should be enough.
Yeah, he has a lot of good draws here. He has a lot of good draws.
I don't
yeah.
don't like casting these lands here.
Yeah. At this point, yeah, he has to play them because he's still taking damage from the Croxa.
Okay, I wouldn't play this land too because of Colagan's command.
Well, but he's going to be discarding the land to the Croxa trigger when the Croxa attacks.
Yeah, that's true.
So he playing the land here is correct. The previous land that he played out maybe wasn't a good line, but here is definitely correct. And this is just the turn clock, and now Drake has 2 cards in hand, and I doubt that he's gonna get got from here. And this Croxa literally has Saint Doom dead on the immediate next turn.
So one last draw step, and assuming that opponent will have anything interesting here.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, Saint Doom, all the Saint Doom can do is just assume that his opponent has absolutely nothing, which it seems like it is, right? Because that's the only reason why you would be doing what Drake is doing right now, right? Which is to just play a second Ren with even less loyalty, and then try to draw deeper into a removal spell.
This is once again a sign of weakness. This second Ren, so that means that your top deck Spike Feeder is live.
I think that he just doesn't have a removal spell.
Yeah, and he drew a Helios. Helios is probably not.
No.
Not even. I like the style here.
That would have been good 2 turns before. That would have been good 2 turns earlier.
Spike Feeder from the top.
That would have been good 2 turns earlier. That's brutal. That is brutal.
Yeah, you can see the power creep here. Imagine how Jant would kill the opponent before Croxa was printed. much
a lot slower. A lot slower for sure.
That's true.
Here we actually see Saint Doom bringing in the Mirror Crusader instead of taking it out like we saw. Who sided out Mirror Crusaders earlier today? Garrett. Garrett sided out. Garrett sided out Mirror Crusaders, and we see Saint Doom actually bringing them in against Junt. I guess they're a little bit better against Junt because they can attack through Tarmogoyfs, right?
That's true, but still Seal of Fire plus Lightning Bolt is, in my opinion, enough reason. Oh, nice sideboard. It's enough reason to not side them in. Although maybe your mana dorks aren't very good. On the other hand, your mana curve is so high that maybe it's not the best thing to do. Although once again and again, your mana dorks are quite bad to Ren and Seed of Fire and so on. So maybe siding out all mana dorks is the best thing to do. Maybe keeping the Water Druid is better because it at least survives Ren.
Yeah, I would imagine that he would side out. He's only playing a single Vizier, so the Vizier is only there so he can finale for it and have infinite mana. So I would imagine that he would take those out because the birds and the noble actually fix the mana for him, and they actually work better within his curve. These Veils are going to need to work overtime here, or he's going to need to draw a lot more of those collected companies that he saw none of in the previous game.
What do you think about siding out Walking Ballista?
Siding out Walking Ballista?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Now you have no tutorable way to answer Lurus, though, which can be a problem, because you can use Ranger Captain to find Ballista, and then Ballista can answer Lurus. So now you have to bank and draw in one of your 3 Path to Exiles. So it's interesting, though. I mean, if you're setting out your infinite combo and you're setting out a bunch of your mana dorks, Ballista does become a lot worse. And here we see the kind of hands that we've been seeing all day, basically, just like some form of mana issue.
This hand is fine though.
Yeah, this hand is good. I like this hand a lot. What would you put back? Yeah, same question.
I think Spike Feeder is the way to put back.
That's what I was going to say. Kitchen Finks is what we go for.
Kitchen Fink is also Kitchen Fink is not the best thing to have. So right now if opponent keeps garbage, maybe you have a 10 free kill. You go 10 to Heliot into 10 free Spike Feeder. So maybe that's a Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Removal happens.
I mean, draw is
Still,
good.
it's a turn for kill if opponent taps out, for example, for a Lurus or for some form of clock. Also, this hand is kind of immune to Vren and to some other effects. Dark Confidant is a scary one because, and once again, with Dark Confidant as being a card, I'm not a very big fan of siding out Ballista. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. And now that the John decks have moved back to that confident because of Lurus's restriction, it makes things a lot more scarier, and it's a very easy way for the John decks to keep up with the card advantage of cards like Collected Company or in Kinship Fix even. That's an interesting thoughtsies. I guess that it would depend a lot on what Drake's hand looks like here, right? Because he probably has to pick the Collected Company, but then if he doesn't have a removal spell and then St. Doom finds a green source off the top, then he actually gains infinite life. So it's not great for him. Literally, the only castable card here in this hand is Kitchen Things, but the other two cards are a lot more threatening.
Mana base is a fun thing, I have to say. Like this, all of these days, all about mana bases, and maybe card advantage for Lurus. Okay,
Right.
Kitchen Fix discarded. That's a question. So it's a sign of weakness. Okay, that's a sign of weakness.
Yeah, that's a big sign of weakness for sure.
I would discard Spike there, in my opinion, because like dying to land from the top combo.
Yeah, but Drake did not play land, so I would imagine that he just thought, okay, if I actually, like, I cannot beat if Saint Doom gets lucky, because they're either going to cast a Collected Company or they're just gonna make infinite life. So I just have to beat his get unlucky hand, which is they don't find another land. So in that case, I'm gonna take the only castable card that they have. I would imagine that was what Drake was thinking about there.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
What do you think about this current feeder? I'm trying to figure out what kind of combos you want to assemble with this card here.
So the current feeder with the Kitchen Things goes infinite with Heliod, right?
Okay.
Because you sack the Kitchen Things, it gains you life, it comes back, and then you put the counter on the Heliod counter on the Kitchen Things, and then you make an infinitely large current feeder, and you just gain infinite life as well. Okay,
so infinite life by itself is not looking very powerful, but infinite carrion feeder is obviously I'm joking, but yeah, now so I was thinking about if
that's brutal. That's a brutal brutality.
Actually,
very
it could be worse, you know. This year brutality didn't kill any creature, so now this looks like an okay. You can use a Heliod ability.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're gonna see here. So he's gonna swing in for 3, gain 3, and now we're gonna see put a counter on the Carrion Feeder. Huh, interesting. Why in the current? I guess to protect it from Brennan 6. Brennan 6, yeah. So I guess it makes sense. But I wonder if it's just better to protect your Ranger Captain from Lightning Bolt, right?
I think that your Captain already did the job, so you have some life top decks to combo. So if they want to kill your Captain, you are you open yourself to draw your game winning out. Okay, this time of life. Oh boy! So once again, we have a situation on top decking. So
yeah, I mean,
Target Feeder is not out here.
No,
because of mana.
Again, he cannot cast his spells. Galvany Township is not free.
Yeah, like I love to hear when, for example, people are saying, yeah, you should play Blazzo in Dredge's main deck.
Yeah.
But I'm very often deciding that in, but like having not a land which does not produce your main colors is a huge risk. Also in Amulet, like every land you are adding, which does not work with your main game plan, is a huge cost.
Yeah, exactly. Every non-producing land, every non-green producing land, it's pretty massive cost.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the Croxa in the graveyard, and we have the mountain, which you reveal to the Bob. Bob has been the story of this game, basically, doing so much work.
Yeah. Okay, so this counter on current feeder was a really cool play here.
Yeah.
So returning a land.
Is it gonna be enough though?
Okay, so still fire now.
It's pretty
Now
rough.
closes the combo kill. So now, do you want to sacrifice your? I think you have to.
So you just have to you give yourself the out to drawing kitchen things, basically.
Yeah, the only way you win this game is by combo.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go.
You want outgrind for an 6 plus Dark Confidant.
So we're all in on the combo. We have to top deck. I guess a Collected Company would be the best thing that he can top deck, and then he can company into either Kitchen Finks or Carrion Feeder.
I'll just go company into Spike Feeder plus Kitchen Finks, so you have 2 little.
It would be nice to have a little bit of redundancy, you know.
Yeah.
Just get both.
Like if we are living in a magical Christmas land, so
yeah, might as well dream big, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Saint Doom wants to get this game over with, which makes a lot of sense.
On the other hand, John player. You still have a redraw. Don't panic.
Yeah, we have one more redraw because now that's a green source actually, which is important.
Yeah,
because it's still Spike Feeder is still an out here.
Yeah, so using Governor Township to try to draw into a spell is a line here. Come on, one time, hop.
One time and nope.
Last one.
Rough. Verdant Catacombs is the last one. Is he technically dead?
Carrion Feeder cannot block. You can give him lifelink.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So he's gonna get 3 up to 11, and then
put a counter. Also opponents at 8. So if the op reveals Ugin the Spirit Dragon, the game is over. He can't.
I mean, that's true. I mean, if he did reveal that, he would also be, you know, a crazy brewer.
Yeah, I remember when in Legacy people were playing Sultai Delver like 8 years ago with Dark Confidant and Tombstalker.
Nice.
So that was quite fun to use 8 life to your top deck.
Yeah, at one point there was a Nardu, a Nahiri deck with Dark Confidant and Emrakul in the same deck, which was pretty hilarious. It wasn't very good, but some valiant folks.
So now
out there did it.
Now I think the game is
because this is Croxa, which is gonna bolt him. So now Carrion Feeder is no longer an out.
Bolt plus Vren -1 on the rest total. So it's probably exactly 0.
Yeah, Saint Doom begging Drake to play the.
Although this
Seal of Fire instead of
this play looks like a ghosting here because what if opponent is not discarding a land but a spell, and you won't kill the op. Maybe instead it's better to cast Lurus and cast Seal of Fire. Just to make sure you won't die to combo and kill the op next turn. Now Croxa gave the life out to Saint Doom. But like drawing
what happened there? Are we out of Kitchen Finks? Why did he concede there? Why did you concede there?
Red and 6.
He was at 0.
Did the Red and 6? I thought that he activated the Red and 6. Feels bad, man. Rough. Right. So I guess that Texas sucks, and also Kitchen Thing sucks.
Kitchen Thing sucks. I do
All
want to
right.
say, before I get to the mana matters point, before I say congratulations to Drake for ending my 11 match win streak.
Humble brags.
Game 1, the Spike Feeder was the next card. In game
Yep.
2, if I could have cast Spike Feeder or Collected Company, and that's where the mana matters comes back, because if I was able to cast either of those spells, I think I was going to be okay. I mean, I didn't cast a single Collected Company, and the deck's name is Abzan Company. I didn't cast a single company in that entire match.
Yep.
Which is just, I'm not going to win games against Jund like that. Well played by Drake. He timed his Seal of Fires very well. So I saw you guys ask about the Scavenging Ooze, but my plan with the Scavenging Ooze was to get it so he used 2 Seal of Fires and a Scooze, and I just won the following turn. But that didn't obviously work out.
Yeah. So what we were thinking is like just go get like a Glass of the Eternal Witness, and then just grind value the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You are hopefully eventually drawing the Seal of Fires as well, but you are not down a card, and also it's worse against Ren. So that's kind of like because if they have Ren basically is Time Walk. So so you can have to figure out what you want to play around, and I mean you choose your line and it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that really things did not line up in your way, which is fine. It happens sometimes. It
definitely happens. It's Magic. You can't go 12-0. We just learned that tonight. You cannot go 12-0.
Such a thing does not exist.
But I would like to get to the primary point. I feel like the theme of tonight was that mana matters. Lands matter. Every single loser from tonight lost because of mana base issues. Every single one. Now that could be due to deck construction, that could be due to bad luck, that could be due to a whole number of different things. I definitely think Gavany Township is a real cost in Collected Company decks, and I've been saying that for a long time. The ability that it can win games with the Kitchen Finks in play is really what it's there for. I just don't know if that instead of a Gavany Township was a basic land, I think I won game 2 there. So there's definitely a real cost to adding spice cards to certain decks, and mana definitely matters. What do you think, Sodek? What do you think about Kitchen Finks?
Kitchen Finks, there was a moment, especially in game 2, when these Kitchen Finks were a light draw, and we're buying time. Like Kitchen Finks kind of bad matchups against Lurus plus Seal of Fire, and that's probably a problem going forward in this match. So I think that we should reconsider in future if Kitchen Finks are even needed in this type of decks. So maybe it's just better to go full on very low curve with Devoted Druid with Lurus. It's probably the best possible shell for Kitchen combo decks right now.
Absolutely.
And but it's not as bad. Obviously, we are playing against a match when Kitchen Finks aren't very good, obviously, but they aren't breaking. For example, the Kitchen Finks versus Red Prowess deck would be a different story. It will be a difference between, like, maybe not winning and losing, but it will buy you a lot of time. On the other hand, like, I think that right now, Red Prowess is probably the best deck. And that's in my opinion misconception that live game beats Red Prowess, because how easy for them is to put, for example, 2 or 3 creatures and then just play 4 spells, and if all of these spells are representing a free lightning bolt to the face if you are able to combat. That means that you're like compared to what fair casting spells are doing, these prowess actions are very, very powerful.
Yes.
So especially with Lava Dart here, with one card, it's not like a 2 damage. No, like generally speaking, Lava Dart will be lightning bolt twice with different different targets.
It's very often like 4 even more damage.
Yeah, and like I'm very scared how the meta game will adapt. Obviously, if you are killing prowess creatures, we are not doing that much. But on the other hand, Lurus means that killing opposing creatures is not the best strategy ever. Also, adding Abbot means that they can work with more cards. Light up the stage gives kind of a refill.
Yeah.
So I think that right now we are living in a world when it turns out that Prowess is probably the best Lurus deck. It's hard to say that it's a truly Lurus deck because, like in my opinion and my definition, Lurus and Yorion decks are decks which they like nearly always will play their companion spell. But Red Prowess is a non-interactive deck which doesn't have to play his companion card to do its thing.
Yeah, I mean, what lures adds to the prowess deck is just you a lot of times are the way that you have to pace your spells. Like you know that they always have the lures available to them, right? So you need to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage from that stupid Soulscar Mage because you only have the 1 removal spell. And then if you kill the Soulscar Mage, then the Lurus brings it back just the same. And now you don't have any removal for the Lurus, and then you're dead. We actually had a great example of this earlier today. I was playing on stream a match with Astral Ren, and I resolved the Thragtusk, I resolved the Huntmaster of the Fells, and I used 2 Lightning Healers to kill 2 of my opponent's creatures. And I still lost the game on turn 8 or 9 or something, with my opponent having access to 5 cards in hand. So like this is not, we don't beat prowess by gaining life. That's not the way that you beat prowess. That is how you used to beat prowess. That's just not the norm anymore. Something that I was testing, which I actually I wasn't lucky enough to face the matchup again, but like the next card that I'm going to be looking at, somebody in my chat suggested a Ghostly Prison, because that is a card that they cannot really interact with, and that attacks the deck in an angle that they're not very particularly well suited to work with. And yeah, we had seen this in the past when trying to beat Dredge or decks like that. The way to tackle them is Sodek looks at me like that. That's not gonna get you there.
Ghostly Prison is like my soul is crying right now. Like I remember, like even before Creeping Chill era, playing your all super powerful horde of creatures just to be able to attack with 1 Priced Amalgam or 1 Bloodgust, or even 2, and then you see the Lightning Helix killing your Priced Amalgam, so your attack will deal 0 damage, and you spend 4 mana to do this.
Exactly.
Yeah, Ghostly is a fine deck because life gain doesn't work. Removal is kind of okay, but you have to have a lot of all of it.
You need to have just too much of it.
1 or 2 removal spells won't do anything because of how Lurus works. So the only way to beat prowess right now is to just be faster,
which is hard.
Yeah.
Which is hard, but we can still play, for example, Neobrand and try to do that. Or to play very strange, very specific cards to work with. Even the core Spirit Dancer is not that good because
Firewalker.
Core Firewalker. It's not that good because of Pirate Spellbomb in the sideboard.
And Path to Exile.
It's also not that good because they give their creatures trample, and then a 1/1 or 2/2, whatever Core Firewalker is, doesn't really do too much when they're attacking with 3/6/7s with trample, thanks to that 1 mana cantrip that gives all their creatures trample.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily we are not like not all lists are playing crash through, so like they decided to go for to the path route. Also, I think that Primeval Titan like Amulet can be a good counter because
Yeah, I've been
counter
having success with it. I think that I'm doing better against that deck now than I used to do in the past because they don't have access to crash through as reliably. Sorry, sometimes they're just not, because of the bubbles. They're not playing crash through at all, and we don't really, thanks to field, that we don't really struggle chump blocking. So it used to be a terrible matchup before because they always had it crash through, and like your two zombies are looking silly against they're like 8-9 Monastery Swift Spears. But if those are not trampling Swift Spears, then Sombo is very very proudly going under the bus for you.
I miss Kelney Garden for that very reason.
Yeah, I mean, against the Labrador deck, you probably don't want to be county gathering too much.
Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, like, the last 2 or 3 times that I faced it, I beat the deck, and I'm like, this used to be a terrible matchup. What's going on? And I realized that it's like, why are people not casting Crash Through against me? And they're not playing Kinfin even, which was the other way that we always lost. Like, basically, if you wanted to beat Amulet, any metagame ever, just cast Kilfin on turn 2. You're going to win. I guarantee it. So with the prowess decks now moving away from Kilfin into stuff like Abbot of Keral Keep, that means that they have a much more powerful mid to late game. But even that mid to late game is not as powerful as other mid to late game decks, like, for example, Amulet, or like the blue-green Titan deck, Titan Field deck
Prowess
that
got much
we've
better
seen
against Jund, for example, because Prowess can't beat what just happened to me game 3 there, that Seal of Fire loop with Lurrus. Like, Prowess can't beat that unless they run Lurrus of their own. And Kiln Fiend is really bad against Seal of Fire. When you spend 2 mana for your opponent just to go 1 mana is gone, that's not a great interaction. And that's why Tarmogoyf was so good for so long, was because there was no 1 mana answer besides Path to Exile to kill him. But now, if you are looking at, if they're running the, was it the 2/1 that you can exile the top card and you can play that this
Abbot of Keral Keep.
Abbot of Keral Keep. If you're playing that instead, their game plan is definitely to try to grind a little bit better against these Jund style decks, because a 2/1 is not very good against Ren and 6, but if it's eating a removal spell and it's drawing you a card, that can buy you enough time to maybe swing in with a hasty creature and kill Jund.
Exactly, and then it's another creature that they can replay with lures to draw another card, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, it's like
top card is.
Exactly. So yeah, definitely the tides have changed in the way that we should approach that matchup specifically. Something that we see Spider Space actually suggesting in chat is Chalice of the Void. So I honestly have not a lot of experience with playing Chalice decks in Modern, but he does. So I would imagine that there's some form of I don't know if Eldrasitron or Thalia Stompy deck, or I don't know if something like Mono Red and Prowess, but Mono Red and Prison Story or something like that. Those decks always seem super weak to me. You know, if there's any way that you can make sure that you're casting Chalice very early in the game, and then you have like the removal for the 1 or 2 1-drops that kind of like that made it through. I would imagine that you're probably going to be pretty successful against that deck, because like the vast majority of their cards are 1-drops, with the exception of Abbot and Light Up the Stage, and I guess Metamorphose.
It's kind of a 1-drop anyway, right?
Yeah, but the unfortunate Chalice doesn't work that way. But yeah, so everything else in the deck is in 1-drop. So if you manage to have a chalice in there and hopefully even protect it somehow, I don't know how you would protect it in the chalice decks. They don't even really play counter magic often, but
Welding jar.
welding jar. That's a good way to put it. Maybe it's time for where's Susurrus?
Lantern?
Somebody call Susurrus. Somebody call Prism Mike and tell him that maybe it's time to play chalice again.
No, don't without Mox Opal. It can be quite hard to. It's I love that deck. I hate to play it against it, but I love to watch Susurrus streams just to see how this pile of strange cards can just lock people out of the game.
It was such a beautiful thing. I cannot believe he won so much with that deck. He was such a beast. But yeah, maybe a deck like that, or maybe it's time for a completely new archetype to show up of nowhere and be like the new metagame deck that can actually punish all of these aggressive decks. And if there's any, the problem is that it's really tough to target both the Lurrus decks and the Yorion decks because they attack from pretty different angles. But if there's a way to figure out a way to attack both of those decks, maybe you just struck gold right there.
Maybe.
There's
also said, I think you ignored the comment when he said maybe next league he's going to play 4 Kitchen Finks and attacks his deck.
Wow.
Wow. just to prove us all wrong.
Some self-loathing. Some serious self-loathing there.
I love Kitchen Finks. I won my first big tournament with Kitchen Finks, and it's a card that feels great when it's good and does nothing when it's medium. Like Kitchen Finks Kitchen Finks used to be amazing against Jund. Unless they had Scavenging Ooze, Kitchen Finks single-handedly will wreck Jund. But now Jund has Wrenn and 6. And now they have Seal of Fire and Lurrus. So it's your 2-for-1's fine, but as Francisco said, I have a 600 to 1. So Advent Company used to wreck Jund. I don't think that's the case anymore.
Yep. I mean, it's just Lurrus really changed the spectrum of the play patterns of the format, like the ways to attack the format or the ways to think about the format. And I mean, it's adapt or die, or I guess ban or adapt or die, or
just be efficient, just be fast. Play decks that have proactive game plans that are very, very efficient at either consistently disrupting your opponent, like a Jund deck, or even these Lurrus control decks, or just being very, very fast and explosive, like Neoform, or these Prowess decks. Or maybe you just want to go over the top of people and just play Amulet Titan, which can still be explosive and can just drop a bunch of zombies and say, "Come at me."
What's up? I just want to give a shout out to Skype, which finally decided to work right now. Yeah. So thank you, Skype. We never doubted you. We really appreciate you being here.
I was ready to
I'm not that beautiful on this form of Skype.
Yeah, I don't know why you're yellow. You're coming out a little bit yellower here.
No. It's 5 a.m. in Poland, so the sun is rising right now. So the light is strange, maybe a bit.
Yeah. Everybody in Poland is secretly a Simpson. You know that?
Whoa, that was interesting annoyance.
I do like how Skype is fixed now 3 hours later than we wanted it to be.
It's fine. It's fine.
I didn't change anything. I didn't do anything differently. It's just now working for us.
Hopefully you enjoy the technically difficulties filled content. It's live TV, baby. It's live TV. This is what it is.
It hurts my soul. It hurts my soul. Honestly, the flickering was hurting my soul more than losing to Drake.
It was rough. But hey, we're here, right?
Francisco, when can people catch your stream?
Literally every day. I've been doing since the quarantine. I've been doing content full time. So you can find me at twitch.tv/fpavlush, which is FPAWLUSZ. Yeah, I know. When I created the handle, I didn't think I was going to be streaming much. So
So you
It's
just
quite
that
easy.
middle name.
Pavlush. Don't see any problem with it.
Pavlush, yeah, they're gonna figure it out, right? It's pretty easy to spell. And then on Twitter and YouTube and Patreon, it's /fpublishmtg.
Okay. And Sodek, where can people catch more of your action?
More of my action. That's actually funny because right now I should focus more on my university stuff. So maybe if I'm not telling this, I'm not that I won't be that interested in streaming for some time, but I will say that. So if you want to find me streaming, it's the best time to do is probably weekends, because from time to time I'm streaming modern challenges.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to stream once a week, usually on Thursdays, my modern prelims. But if you want to find probably, in my opinion, the best dredge content and modern dredge content, you should check my Patreon called Sodek MTG. And I already wrote a small book about this deck, and I'm updating it every month. Also, I'm thinking about writing about Ad Nauseam, because I'm really high on this deck right now. And yeah, like if I can, I'm playing Ad Nauseam Leagues right now, not Dredge, because I'm just waiting for people to stop auto keeping nightly spell bombs game 1 against me, and that's super annoying. Like for real, it happens so often. Like every 2 weeks, I have a guy who's telling, yeah, I kept to beat Dredge, and sorry.
Wow.
I played later around it, so you
So
know. And also, of course, probably the best way to keep track of what I'm doing is to just check my Twitter, also called Sodek MTG. And yeah, probably that's it. Yeah, I'm tired.
To keep up to date with Modern Streamers League information, follow us on Twitter at Modern Streamers. Check out the website at modernstreamersleague.com, or check out our YouTube or Twitch. We're sponsored by Wizards of the Coast and Card Hoarder. We still have a lot of modern action to go. I believe this league is going to be it's estimated around 45 matches, and we've only got 4 nights in so far, which is about 16 matches in. So a lot of modern coming up tomorrow. I play against KO Diamonds. We're going to do the losers bracket, which I just joined after losing tonight. I'm going to see Garrett against Dylan Hand, K-Ponce against Yama Killer, and Spider Space against Francisco. So should be some pretty good modern action tomorrow. I believe we're also going to be hosted by the Dive Down podcast for some commentary. So
What?
nice.
Like if I were your chat, I would for sure come back tomorrow to check the commentary.
And hopefully
right.
Skype, if I'm still using Skype and haven't thrown it out the window. I was thinking, I was like, I could put it on a USB, right? And then take the USB and throw the USB out the window, right? Then I can literally throw Skype out the window.
That's interesting.
Bad beats.
Bad beats.
It's okay.
So thank you,
It's
everyone,
okay.
for tuning
We're still here.
Thank you, Francisco. Thank you, Sodek, for hanging out. Definitely check out their content. These are the premier modern Endo-Titan and Dredge players out there right now. So definitely check them out. And apparently they're branching out to a Renin 6 deck and Ad Nauseam. So even more decks are going to be included under their umbrellas. Definitely check them out.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.